All right, Hector Bravo, how's it going?
What up, dude?
Good to meet you, man.
Likewise, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. I've been seeing you doing, crazy numbers out here. It's been going good for you.
Good, tiring, grinding, man. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
foot on the gas pedal.
Well, can you kind of give them, a quick background on you and, where'd you grow up and, how'd you get into being a correctional officer?
So I was actually born in Hanford, California, which is Central California, but I grew up in Brawley, California, which borders Mexico, down south, dude. Probably as down south as you can go. It borders Arizona and Mexico. My father was a correctional officer. He became a correctional officer in 1993. Before that, he was like a custodial janitor worker for a hospital. That's what kind of gave me the idea to want to become a CO as well. I saw all the COs in the Imperial Valley were making a lot of money, dude, because you had two prisons down there. Calipatria State Prison, Calipat, and Centinela State Prison.
Okay. So it was for the money.
The career.
The
money. And I'm not going to say benefits because as a young kid, I got the light bulb went off probably in junior year in high school or the career day.
And how long were you a correctional officer?
16 years, dude.
Whoa.
1-6. Yeah, I know. That shit seems, it's kind of a long time if you think about it. It went by fast, though.
I worked with a guy who used to be a correctional officer, and he said he had to quit because he was bringing his work home.
Facts.
And it was extremely hard for him to turn it off.
So I was never supposed to quit, man. That wasn't in my cards per se. I believe it was a part of a higher power, right? A higher plan, purpose. My goal was to do my full term, 28 years, and retire at the age of 50. However, I would eventually promote up the ranks from officer to sergeant and then sergeant to lieutenant. And then when at that rank is when I saw a lot of corruption, dude. And it made me start reanalyzing and reconsidering my life choices and if I wanted to partake in the BS. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. So like a lot of people always say, damn, Hector, it took you that long to see the corruption. In all reality, it did take me that long to see the corruption because I've always been the boots on the ground type of dude. I was in the Army before I became a CO. I was a grunt. I was boots on the ground. Being in the trenches, all you can see is the trenches. You're not sitting behind the closed door meetings. You're not seeing what the big wigs are, backdoor deals or shady shit that people are doing behind closed doors.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to just get into some questions. How long ago did you quit working?
I resigned on December 1st, 2022. So approximately 2.5 years ago, coming up on 3 years. At the time, my daughter was 4 years old. She's now 7. And I had 12 years remaining until I can collect a pension at that time.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, lately in prison, they've been trying to integrate
Yes.
general population and the SNY yards, the PC yards. They're calling it 50-50 yards. What's your thoughts on that?
That's all bad, dude. That's all bad. That actually began in the year 2019-ish. That began like right before COVID. One thing I got to preach to the masses, to the audience, is that at the lower levels, they didn't give us a heads up what we were going to be doing. And when I say the heads up, everybody has to understand that all orders come from headquarters, which is based in Sacramento, California. So you got the big wigs in Sacramento calling all these shots, and we are expected to execute them at all 30 prisons throughout the state of California. That was introduced as the non-designated program. Again, nobody told us what non-designated program was or what it was supposed to be or how we were supposed to make it happen. And in essence, they started busing down GP inmates to put on an SNY yard. So we knew that they were going to fight. We knew that they were going to kill each other. But it's one of those things, hey, man, you had a director at the time. She put it on paper, mix these guys. So as far as us being employees, we have it on paper being told to mix them. We're going to mix them because they've already arrived on a bus. It's not like we could send them back to where they came from. You understand what I mean? They got to be housed there. They traveled throughout the state to be housed there. And when we integrated them, they rioted. They kicked it off.
So it's almost like a setup from the beginning.
It's a 100% setup.
So you were there when this first started, and and the riots immediately kicked off.
I was a lieutenant. I was part of the crisis response team, which is the SWAT team for the prison system. You get all the cool gear, man. You get the helmet, the bulletproof vest, the M4 rifle, the Glock, all kinds of grenades and cool stuff, right? We were on standby, so we knew they were going to riot. We were staged. We were hiding in the visiting room, while Dorm 1 and Dorm 2 at Donovan, the level 1 yard, we were about to mix their enemies. So you had regular officers in the buildings ready for when it kicked off. You had us, the crisis response team, hiding so that when it kicked off, we would respond with overwhelming force. And that's exactly what I was right there. I shot a dude 4 times with 40 millimeter less lethal exact impact rounds, which is the sponge rounds, up the leg. Because he was getting jumped. There was a dude that was getting jumped probably like 7-1. And I was helping the victim by shooting off the other ones. It was a mess, dude. It was messed up.
Why would they do this?
Okay. So you're saying, why would they do this? The knowledge that I have now, all right, there's rich people in place. And I want you to think of above the governor level. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but you asked me, why would they do this? If somebody up at the top, let's say by the name of George Soros, has a lot of money, and he wants to destroy a certain area, community, prison system, society, all he has to do is pay Gavin Newsom, the governor, a certain amount of money and say, hey, implement this new idea in the prison system, and let's just see what happens. Governor Newsom, all he has to do is appoint a CDCR secretary of his choosing, which he did choose an individual who's been there since I resigned, December 2022. And that guy, all he has to do is be a yes man. That's all he has to do. And when he's a yes man, he passes it down to his troops below him, who are also yes men. And then it gets all the way down to us and we implement it. So what did they sell it to us as? They sold it to us as rehabilitation. They told the inmates, you are expected to get along with your enemies out on the streets. We are expecting you to get along with your enemies in here. Which doesn't make any freaking sense.
What were your thoughts?
I thought it was horseshit. I thought it was a nightmare. I mean, I don't know if I can cuss. I thought it was a nightmare. I thought it was asinine, bro. Like, I have common sense. I would like to think I'm street smart to a degree. I'm good at reading people. And I was very good at my job. You know, not to toot my own horn. I learned how to navigate the land. So I knew who was who, what was what. You can't mix 2 beta fish and expect you not to kill each other.
Okay, now, when this starts going down, I mean, do people immediately start dying?
Well, not immediately. People were getting stabbed and slashed. Yes.
More than normal?
People were getting f***ed up. Okay, there's different levels to violence. Because I had somebody ask me earlier, Hector, is this the most violent that we've seen? 89 murders in 2 years. Is this the most violent that California CDCR has ever been? I said, I don't know. The 70s and the 80s and the 90s had to have been pretty violent. But that was regular gang stuff. Regular gang stuff. This type of violence could have and should have been prevented by officers. And when I say officers, I mean by custody staff, management. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I don't know how else I can explain it without letting the public know that they are literally mixing people on purpose to kill each other and trying to sell it as rehabilitation.
What are the faces of those people that they look like in California State Prison? If we had to put a face on it, what do they look like?
The inmates?
Mm-hmm.
It varies.
Oh, no, the people who are the people that are pulling these strings?
Pulling these strings.
What do they look like?
Yeah.
What do they look like?
Or who are they?
Who are they?
Who are they?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Jeff McCumber. He's like an older white dude. You got Neil Flood. He's the CCPOA president. So I got to let the public know that the union president is also in bed with the higher ups. Governor Newsom. You already know Newsom's what he looks like. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to profile him, but
we have to.
You can see It's funny because I'll post pictures of all three of them together, and I'm like, yeah, they're all three white dudes. Like, you know what I mean?
And who are the individuals that suffer? What do they look like?
Black and brown, for sure. And I'm not the type to push any type of narrative or agenda, right? But I've always known that. I've always known that the maximum numbers on the yards were blacks and Mexicans. For sure. Down south, too. I mean, Sureños, Blood, Crips. I already knew that.
So they started with level 1, level 2.
Yes.
Right? And now, from what I understand, there is no more general population for level 2. That it's all 50-50. So you're either good on a level 3, or if you're on a level 2, it's all bad for you.
So the term 50-50 always confused me because I never knew what a 50-50 yard was. But what I always understood is maybe you'll have a yard with 3 buildings or 5 buildings on the yard, and maybe 3 of the buildings were GP, 2 were SNY, but they were never to mix. What we are talking about, I do not believe is what you guys think is 50-50. This is mixing everybody.
Right,
there is no
yeah.
50-50.
Well,
it's mixed.
Right. I mean, in
You know
a
what I
not
mean?
so literal sense. You know what I'm saying? Like half the inmates on there are not pedophiles or rapists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there might be gang members that, didn't snitch, but, that they might have not ever even did anything that would have got them kicked off a general population yard.
But when they remain there, they are now deemed no good.
Right.
So if they hang out without kicking it off, without causing violence, they're no good, in accordance to their gang. But to answer your question, yes, all level 1s are considered no good. Yes, all level 2s are considered no good. And as of last week, they have began integrating level 3 GPs into non-designated at Kern Valley State Prison. I forgot what yard, Charlie Yard or something, which is crazy. Because if it didn't work on level 1 or level 2, why would you ever implement it on a level 3? And if I know these stupid bastards like I know them, they're going to do it on the level 4. And I don't even got to say what's going to happen on that level 4 yard when they start mixing.
Well, level 3 is pretty bad too, right?
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Level 3 is not nothing to mess around with. But once you get to that level 4, dude, but they're not just hitting each other. They're also hitting the cops. Right? Because now it becomes survival. I'm not about to get murdered by 10 of my enemy, so I'm going to hit a cop and get out of here in handcuffs. You won't even get roughed up, not in 2025 anymore. They don't really rough people up anymore in 2025. Not like they used to, from what I've heard.
Well, from what I heard, they're trying to use, Governor Newsom's trying to have the Scandinavian model where you got to ask the prisoner, can you put the handcuffs on them and all of this stuff. Is that true?
So I'll take you guys back to the year 2021, right? I was a lieutenant, dude. At the time, I probably had 15 years in, so I wasn't brand spanking new. I knew my way around. I knew policy and procedure. I know the law. And I was hearing rumors, hey, we're going to do the Norway model here in California. I'm like telling the officers, what the fuck's the Norway model? Well, we're going to copy Norway's prison system, and we're going to become friends with the inmates. We're going to give them high fives. We're going to shake their hands. We're going to give them hugs. We're going to decorate their cells like college dorms. And I'm like, nah, as you're hearing a rumor for the first time, I'm like, nah, I'm not cool with that. I don't think I'm going to hang around much longer, guys. These wheels start spinning. And then I start seeing it's coming to fruition. It's coming to the truth. That was part of the reason why I quit, dude, because I'm not a dummy. I'm not going to get sentenced to my death. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get put in a horrible predicament. So I bounce. I tell everybody, holy shit, the sky's falling. CDCR has turned to hell in a handbasket. They're mixing everybody, playing games with inmates, which resulted in numerous staff assaults. There was a young correctional officer that got his throat slashed from here to here in Corcoran by an inmate in NADSEG who just a couple minutes before they were playing handball with him without handcuffs and ADSEG, which is what you're not supposed to be doing. I came out hooting and hollering that the Norway model was a failure and it was getting people hurt and killed. And believe it or not, they actually discontinued it a couple months ago. But CDCR being pathological liars, they said it was as a result of budget cuts. We are cutting back on the California model and we're no longer doing it.
Damn.
It's all propaganda,
well,
bro.
you know, it also, I mean, cultures are different. You know what I'm saying?
So-
Norway might not be as turned up as California.
So, besides the obvious that Norway doesn't have the gangs, nowhere near what California has. Not even do other states have what California operates on this level. It wasn't never about that, bro. What it was always about a lady, a professor by the name of Bree Williams, who was a professor at UC San Francisco, who started a company called Amend, donated some money to Governor Newsom to implement this program, and again, it got implemented. So they launder money in disguise of rehabilitation, and it jeopardizes everybody's lives.
It's horrible.
Whoa.
Yeah, bro. And if you ask me, I want no freaking part of it. I'm cool. I'd rather be broke. But it also opens up your eyes so you can see how real government works, how government operates, how wars in the Middle East start over money, Ukraine. Once you get a picture of this system, it's easier to identify all the other systems.
You know, I've been seeing a lot about, like, there's a lot of prison gangs that are forming on the SNY yards, you know, like the 2-5ers and a couple other ones. You know, and I heard that, you know, a lot of them are removing the rapists and the pedophiles off of the SNY yards. Is that?
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true. That's not true, man. I was in Donovan prison, San Diego. If you look at any SNY yard, whether it be at the time, Charlie Yard, Delta Yard, or Alpha Yard, you had 2-5ers, and you had child molesters on that yard. So, ain't nobody was tripping. They may not be hanging out like homies and fist bumping, but ain't nobody tripping on each other.
What about Masterson? Didn't he have some problems?
Masterson might have had problems because he's Masterson, because of his identity, because of his famous, you know what I mean? Had he been just a normal, regular child molester, he would have just blended in with the crowd. The same with Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez got attacked too. Sirhan, one of the guys that killed one of the Kennedys. I believe you have a high target on your back if you are a celebrity or so-called celebrity. Well, with the exception of Suge Knight, because I met Suge Knight, and he's chill, he's cool. But then again, I don't think anybody's gonna with Suge Knight.
Okay, well, you mentioned Tory Lanez, you
Yeah.
know, and we all seen the video of the stabbing, and we were told that happened because the guy's girl flirted with Tory, and I guess Tory just gave the dudes a heads up, like, yo, man, your chick's flirting with me. You know, like, what was your thoughts, and, you know, what do you think about how that played out?
It's weird because I do know what you just said to be true, but it's weird that I believe the dude that stabbed him had like bad paperwork as well.
Yeah,
right?
He's a pedophile. He was on
Okay.
the 50-50 yard, so
Okay,
he
no,
no
not
good
besides
for sure.
that. I believe he had like some real messing with like a 13-year-old or something.
Yeah, he's a pedophile. He had some
So
bad
with that
paperwork.
being said, knowing what I know from operating in that environment, there could have been more to the story. Or those type of people, they go off for no reason, right? Sometimes they could just be sitting on their bunk, get the wild idea they're going to stab somebody or anybody, just because. That happens. So it's a possibility that transpired. He flirted with his girl. But if I had to bet money on it, I would say there's probably a little bit more to that story. One way or the other.
Okay.
But I did see the stabbing. And that wasn't like, there's different levels to stabbings in prison, right? To me, that one didn't appear as like just a checking. It appeared like the motherfucker was trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Or easily could have killed him. Because they don't care. You got to understand, some people, I saw an old man, he was 60-something, former AB. I don't know if former associate or member. I want to say he might have been a former associate. And he stabbed 2 child molesters on the day room. Good, too. Damn good. Bah, bah, bah. Oh, dude. One guy all over from here, this side of the neck to this side of the neck. The other dude all up in the heart. In the chest, not the heart, in the chest. Neither of the 2 dudes died, right? It was a miracle they didn't die. Blood everywhere. And I talked to that white dude. I said, hey, man, were you trying to kill him? He's like, nah, not necessarily, but if they would have died, oh well. But I did tell him, I was like, hey, dude, you gave me hope, man. He's like, why is that? I said, because you're 64, dude, and you still got it. I said, I was dreading that when I get old, I become not dangerous. And he's like, what he said was, hey, man, every time I try to leave, they keep calling me back. I said, damn, bro, you sound like Scarface or Goodfellas.
Wait, so, hold up. How did he end up on the yard with some pedophiles?
He was former AB. Former.
Okay.
Former. He dropped out.
He dropped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the was righteous, right?
But that's what I was going to say. So he's still business with
100%. Because, yeah, and for the record, just because a person finds themselves on the sensitive needs yard does not mean that they're a bitch, does not mean that they're not with the business, then does not mean that they have bad paperwork. To go even further does not mean that they have committed an offense in their own prison gang. Because there's jealousy in politics in prison gangs, a lot of it. And just because one homie doesn't like you, that's a wrap. They're gonna take you out, and I've seen it.
Now, have you ever seen like a pedophile get set up? Like, we've heard stories like, prison guards, they'll look the other way, or they'll give, they'll give the guy heads up, hey, we got, this dude's got bad paperwork coming in.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all might want to look at that.
So, dude, I've been brutally honest since I've been on scene for almost 3 years, right? And me personally, I never partook in that. But also at the same time, me personally, I never was involved in an incident where I knew that there was a child molester. We all had the heads up that we told somebody to attack them and attack them. No. But what I'm saying is, has that happened? Yeah, I'm sure it has. Do I know if information has gotten leaked from officers to inmates to clean house and handle business and take out the trash? Yeah. Yes. But for me to tell you that I was personally seeing it or personally involved, that never did happen. Does it happen? I'm sure it does, yeah. I did get sued by an inmate, and that's the thing about it. I got sued by an inmate, child molester, who got his ass kicked in the cell, and he sued me saying that I set that up. I did not set that up. The reason they got into an altercation is because he tried to punk the dude who was an OG for like the bunk, for like the upper bunk or the lower bunk. And he straight whooped his ass, which is normal prison shit.
Right.
But it sucks that, they can sue and they do sue. But that's part of the system.
I did not know you could sue a correctional
Oh,
officer.
bro,
Yeah.
you know how many times I've been sued, bro?
Really?
Dude, I mean, since we're on the subject, and a good story is when I promoted to sergeant at Donovan, brand new sergeant, an inmate tied a knife to his hand with clothesline, with the sheets from the bed. So if he goes like this, the knife's not gonna drop. It's stuck. He stabbed the officer. I respond as a sergeant. I break the dude's arm with the baton. Stop. Once the officer yelled, it's tied to his hand, Sarge, it's tied to his hand. I looked, because I had never experienced this before. And it was tied. I just started to stomp the dude out. I was trying to break his hand, stomping his hand at first, and I kind of stomping him all over. Point I'm trying to make is, I was well within the use of force policy, right? Because that was an attempted murder on a peace officer. We could have killed him per policy. And then he turned around and he sued all of us. He sued all of us, saying that he was hanging out in his bunk bed, minding his own business. And I went over there as a sergeant, opened the door, and just started to beat the shit out of him. And that was a thing.
Wow.
That was the thing. I had to answer his lawyer's questions. How long have I been on the job? Do I know the use of force policy?
Okay, so when something like this happens, do you guys have video proof, or like how do you defend yourself?
Not in when the was that, dude? That was in 2015. That was in February of 2015. There was no video cameras at that point in time at all. But now there's video cameras. There's body-worn cameras. Which I'm a fan of because it's evidence preservation. That would have showed, that I used force, but it also would have showed why did I use the force. Because he started stabbing a cop, a CO.
I've always wondered, a lot of people seem to get away with stabbings in prison, or they get very little time a lot of the time. Why is that?
Let's rewind the clock, though, because right now in California and in CDCR, it's a wild time, dude. It's a wild west. It's a free-for-all, anything goes, certain weird shit's happening that's never happened before. But if you want to look in the past, if an inmate had life and he stabbed somebody, the chances of the district attorney, the DA, picking up that case were slim to none, because they knew, as a matter of fact, that inmate that stabbed that officer, the DA didn't pick up his charge because he was already serving 4 life sentences. So if they don't want to fight the time in court, if they're already serving life, that's probably why they won't pin another attempted murder on them. Same thing for possession of a weapon, having a shank in prison, right? You could back in the past get struck out. Let's say you had 2 strikes on your record, right? Because there was a 3-strike law in California. If you had 2 strikes and you were an inmate in prison and you got caught with a shank, you were going to get struck out. Your ass was going to stay in prison for life. But all these weird law changes have happened where probably in the year 2013, lifers got an actual chance to go home. They did. And that's a trip, because the old Hector, naive Hector, if they would have, which they did, we're going to let these lifers go home, a murderer, a killer, I would have said, nah, don't do that, right? But looking now, present time, I've actually spoken to so many successful former lifers that have changed their life, authentically changed their life. So I look at the whole thing. It is possible for people to change if they're willing to change.
Now, if an inmate who is like a general population, he shows up to the prison and they try to put him on the 50-50 yard.
Yes.
Right? He has so long where he has to get off that yard.
Correct.
And the only way, he's got to fight.
Yep.
And so from what I'm understanding is that in some cases, some of these guys, they're getting beat half to death. And some cases, the helicopter got to come get them. Like they're going on to the GP, and it's them versus the whole yard.
Facts. 100%. I was there. I seen it. This is facts. Facts, bro. You get 5 GPs, and I don't feel bad. I'm taking full responsibility because I'm saying, hey, we did this. This was wrong, right? So if I'm going to get in trouble, then let me be getting in trouble. But this is the truth. You would have a minimum facility yard, level 1, which are now all SNY. How many are there? 100 over here, 100 over here? I mean, I shouldn't be laughing, but I think I'm laughing of how idiotic and wild this is. You'll get a bus of 5 GP inmates, and I'll tell you right now, bro, this is exactly how we used to do it. Honest to God, this is how we used to do it. Bring the 5 GP inmates into the sergeant's office. There's windows. We can see the buildings. The inmates are looking out the window. They already know a GP's coming. We tell one GP inmate, hey, go ahead, walk to that building over there. Everybody knows what's going to happen. That inmate knows what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. The inmates in the building are waiting for him. The poor bastard walks to the building. He's greeted by approximately 5 to 7 men. They'll ask him, are you going to program? Meaning, are you going to hang out? Are you going to fight? And if he takes too long to answer, they're going to whoop his ass right then and there. Probably like 10-on-1. Stomp him out. Then the cops get up. They walk. Everybody scatters. And then we drag the body. We put him in a cage. And then we go move on. We do the next guy.
Yeah, I heard that like correctional officers will intentionally take their time and let him get the shit beat out of him to kind of send a message to the rest of the guys.
To who?
That might be coming through.
No, it's not about sending a message. It's, if anything, because I was a SEAL. It's because you're lazy and you don't want to do work. So if you don't identify no inmates as suspects, you don't have a suspect. That's what it is. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not as corrupt as people want to make it out as corrupt to be. Like, there's nobody betting money. Hey, how long can this guy last getting his ass kicked? Because It's nobody wants to do this. They want to get it over with as fast as possible and as clean as possible, meaning no reports, which is.
I've heard about that before, but where do you think those rumors came from then?
I mean, probably in the past history, like Corcoran, gladiator shoe wars, gladiator fights in Corcoran, where it was alleged that they were betting. The FBI came, the Greenwald gang. That's why. But I gotta make it clear, bro, because if we're betting, I would be the one to tell you, hey, people are betting. Ain't nobody betting. These young cops are scared of their own shadow. They're not betting. There's nothing to bet on. What is there to bet on? This guy's gonna get his ass kicked? It's guaranteed this guy's gonna get his ass kicked. Ain't no gonna win against 10 guys. But this is up, right? But then it turns on the cops. It turns on the cops. Do you realize why the attempted murders on peace officers has risen drastically? Because they understand it's easier, much easier to stab a cop in the throat than to get your ass stomped out by 10 dudes. It's a much painless process.
Well, yeah, but
they don't care about anything else. It's survival.
You're gonna be in the shoe for.
They don't look at it like that, and you're not gonna be in the shoe because
stabbing a cop won't get you put to the shoe.
Because consequences have gotten watered down throughout the system as part of that California model that we were speaking about.
So it used to get you into the shoe then.
It'll get you into the shoe, right? But what are you gonna have when you're in the shoe? A tablet, an iPad, phone calls, showers, food, canteen. Now you can play sports in ADSEG, RHU. So are you really in the shoe? You're getting all the privileges everybody else is.
So the shoe isn't like it used to be then?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Let's say when I first started, 2006, 2007, the shoe, the security housing unit, there was Pelican Bay, there was Corcoran, there was Tehachapi. There were the shoes. There was determinate shoe terms. Let's say you stab a cop. You're going to get a determinate shoe of 2 years. Your ass is going to stay 2 years in the hole, determinate shoe. And then there was indeterminate shoes, where if we validate you as an associate to a prison gang, Aryan Brotherhood associate, Mexican Mafia associate, Mexican Mafia member, they sat in that box for 30 years. 30 years. That was an indeterminate shoe. Now, there's no more indeterminate shoe. Now there has to be a timeline on when you can get out of the shoe. But, dude, I mean, you're talking to a former lieutenant, bro. I'm telling you all the ins and outs. You know that captains and above are capable of suspending shoe terms? You know what that means, suspending a shoe term?
No.
Let's say I'm an inmate and I get caught with a weapon, a shank, a good one. Let's say it's supposed to be a determinate shoe of, 13-month shoe term, 14-month shoe term. That captain can show up on that Monday and say, hey, I'm suspending your shoe term. Don't do that again. Go back to the yard.
Wouldn't that look bad though?
That's what I was
I'm
just going to say.
Like,
I was just going to say that. I swear to God, that was my next
word.
word.
Look back to who? I'm telling you, this is
How about when he comes back, the people are like, what are you doing back here?
Right.
Now, get ready for the next question. Get ready for the next answer.
What'd you tell him?
Get ready for the next answer, though. If an inmate wants to get off the yard because he fears for his life, so he purposely presents a knife to a cop, he goes to the hole, the captain suspends his shoe term, and he goes back to the yard that he was afraid of, what do you think that inmate's next move is?
Hit a cop.
It's not rocket science. Hit a cop. Oh, I got caught with a knife. You didn't keep me in the hole. I know what's going to keep me in the hole. Bah! Now you're going to, and they've said it. Now you got to lock me up. Now you got to keep me in the hole. They've said it. But these young officers that don't listen for shit, I keep trying to tell them, hey, you're in the most dangerous time ever because of this shit. They just don't grasp the reality, their environment. Their environment is dangerous. Because you're having dudes hit you out of survival.
What's your thoughts on someone like Blueface being on a 50-50 yard?
To tell you the truth, I haven't really kept up on Blueface. Who does he have?
We had a guy here, man. He's into Hatropy, I think. He's into Hatropy.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we had a Bompton G Uno. Shout out Bompton G Uno.
Yeah.
And he said he ran into him in there, and he said something hilarious. He said his jail etiquette was bullshit, and he said he was on the top bunk, and he was looking ashy. That's what he said.
You know, when it comes to 50-50 yards or like rappers like that, oh my God, dude, CDCR is so messed up, bro. It's almost like they're gonna get put where they put you, where the department puts you, right? And then you just gotta navigate and survive as best as you can with what you got and who you're with.
What's the worst beating that you've seen somebody take trying to get off a 50-50 yard?
Oh, that's an excellent question, dude. Damn, that's an excellent question. Like, dude, that's an excellent question. And you're asking a guy who has been exposed to a lot of violence, right? So what may not be violent to me is probably definitely violent to other people. But you've had dudes slashed, bro. Slashed their face, slashed, stabbed. I would rather take a beating than to get slashed and stabbed like these dudes have been getting slashed and stabbed. Close to death. Am I personally aware of a death? Oh yeah, there has been. So yeah, right, like, because of course all I talk is evidence and document-based facts, so I don't get in trouble for slander or whatever. I can assure you that I know for facts that dudes have gotten murdered, and I probably have videos of them because they were housed together and they should not have been housed together. Brutal murders, bro. Brutal murders. So they're not beatings, they're murders. They've taken it all the way already, numerous times.
Now, nobody's suing over
well, that's
this?
the thing, dude. Let's tally up the count. I resigned in December 2022. Jeff McCumber, the current CDCR secretary. So he is the main guy. He's head honcho. Whatever he says goes, whatever he doesn't say doesn't go. He got that chair in December 22. He got that position in 2022, December. There have been 89 murders, homicides since December 2022.
So I don't know. Is that a lot compared to when you were there before that?
100%. That's one a week.
Yeah, one a week, yeah.
For a department to be claiming on the news, on Instagram, on YouTube,
They got this good model and all this.
We have the good model. It's working. The Norway model is working. These inmates, look at them. They love it here. Everything's fine. That's a lot. 89 is a lot. When you have a level 4 inmate escaping from Kern Valley State Prison, Cesar Hernandez, he made his way to Tijuana, Mexico. He got in a shootout with the Mexican police and killed a female Mexican police official. In Mule Creek State Prison, you had, I don't know if you guys know what a conjugal visit, it's an overnight visit.
Where the husband and the wife gets a chance to stay.
From like a Friday to like a Monday.
They get locked in like a little cabin and
they get locked in like a project.
Project, yeah.
With like a fence around it. Mm-hmm. And in there it's like a studio. You get a bed, you get a stove, an oven, probably a microwave, a couch, a TV. Well, there was 2 murders of ladies that went to go visit their man in prison. That has never freaking happened before. Never.
Why would something like that happen?
I mean, why is probably because
she ain't been to see him in a long time.
No, let's talk. I mean, you guys, we kind of
were cheating.
Found out it was cheating.
I mean,
that would be a good reason.
You're probably asking why has CDCR gotten wild, right? Let's talk about the NFL. They have a set of rules, right? The rule book. Mm-hmm. Now, just imagine if everybody stopped playing by the rules, to include the referees, the officials, like the owners, and everybody just did what they wanted to do. That's where we're at right now. Now, the rules still exist on paper.
But nobody gets penalized for breaking the rules.
Facts.
So it's a flag on the play.
No. They get rewarded, which is even worse than not getting consequences. If they break a rule, they get rewarded. That includes inmates and that includes managers. That's how you get promoted to the next level up, by doing the wrong thing. It's a up culture.
That's wicked, man.
It's bad, bro. I'm on fire on this interview, bro.
Anybody listening right now, don't go to jail in the state of California.
Hell no. Don't do it.
You know what? For even you referring to, from what I've heard and understand, I know some people that work in the prison system, for the word that you use, calling them an inmate could get you in trouble.
Facts.
You have to refer to them as an incarcerated individual.
So you want to talk about when this bullshit started, how did it start, right? Because nothing happened overnight. CDCR just didn't break overnight. One night we didn't wake up and everything went crazy. This has been a process since 2012-ish. When I got to Donovan in 2015, I was a brand new sergeant, man. I was ready to take on the world. And they pull everybody in the classroom. You have the investigative services unit, the goon squad. They're the detectives of the prison. They wear black patches. Everybody come in here. We're going to have staff training. All right, cool. What's up? What's the training going to be? You know, drugs, gangs. That's what type of stuff I'm used to training on. They said, all right, guys, this is your transgender class. We're like, transgender class? What the fuck is this? This is your transgender class. If inmate Bill wants to be called Susie Q, you will call him Susie Q. And everybody's like, nah, no, we're not. Knock it off, right? And they're like, no, you will get in trouble if you do not call him Susie Q or her. And I remember I said, what are we doing here, right? What are we doing here? And they the answer they gave me, hey, if you don't like it, you can quit, or you don't have to be here. That's just the culture of CDCR. If you don't like it, you can quit.
Take it or leave it.
Correct. That's just the way we're doing things now. And yeah, to answer your question, officers were getting not only written up, but in trouble for using the wrong pronouns. That's a fact.
Even transgender pronouns.
Correct.
Him, her.
Him, her. So as long as you use the word, well, back then, inmate, right? But you're right. It did change from now inmate to incarcerated persons. You didn't realize how much money, taxpayer money, the department spent on changing the word inmate to incarcerated person on every form and documentation within the department to make it more politically correct.
That's some weirdo shit.
Bro, dude, I'll be honest, I didn't find no more pride in the job. It just, not that I wanted to harass inmates or belittle them. I just was not down with all the weird shit at all.
It seemed like you got a lot of respect, though. I bet you got a lot of did you?
I was a fair dude, man. Okay. I was fair. Just as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I would just talk, right? Of course, I was more on point there, like on point, but especially when I got to lieutenant, because I was way more experienced and my communication skills had developed so much. It was fun. It was fun to work. It was fun. The bad was the administration. They made it miserable. They made it unbearable.
Is there any point where you thought that like you might have a hit on you or one of the prison gangs might be trying to take you out?
No. I'm pretty street smart, pretty privy. I know in my heart that I never did nobody dirty, right? That one way to get a green light put on you is if you do somebody dirty. If you're too much of a hound, like a canine, if you're really like stopping their drugs, stopping their cell phones, like if you're just on them so much that now, hey, you're not giving them any breathing room to breathe, right? The gangs, then that will put a green light on you. I was, as they say in the academy, man, firm, fair, and consistent. Did I know that they were smoking cigarettes? Yeah, you could smell it, right? Did I know that weed was being smoked? Yeah, you could smell it, right? But
did you go shake down the whole?
They ain't with me. You know what I mean? They ain't with me.
Smoking weed is much better than,
I guess
killing people and shit, right?
In reality, if they want to know how prison really functions and how it was supposed to or how it used to, if they're not with you, let it be, right? If they're not with you, don't with them. If they're with you, then with them right back. Like it kind of goes hand in hand where now the inmates start knowing, hey, if we leave them alone, we can do what we want. If we with them, now they come and fuck our shit up. It's common knowledge. It's so easy to work around inmates, man. It's the administration that was hell on earth, bro.
Now, you mentioned transmissions, as we call them. I also heard that in the SNY yards now, they got a gang called Gay Boy Gangsters.
Yes. They've been around for a long time. Probably, they've been around. They're not to be with, meaning like not to be taken lightly. Yeah, it's not like a joke where They're gay, right? They're gay. They're part of that community. They'll even say we're part of that community or whatever. Straight up. Whether you're gay, transgender.
Like what they look like in there? They got long braids, or like, they look like girls, or
dude, holy shit.
They diesel, they swole. Like,
you gotta understand, dude. My first half of my career, I did at Sentinel State Prison. It was normal. None of that. When I promoted over to Donovan, Charlie Yard, oh my God, dude. I started wondering what the hell kind of mistake I made. Only because I had never seen anything like it. They were everywhere. Breast implants. Long hair. I ain't talking about like beautiful, luscious long hair, man. I'm talking about like, nappy, matted. But I mean, they think they look good. Like they got high self-confidence. Like, and they're getting a lot of love from the dudes. Like this is really a girl. This is really my girl. Watch. I'm just making out with them. Like, yes, dude. It's almost weird because like, let's say I'm a CO, right? And I step on the yard. The way that everybody interacting is normal. Right? Well, probably if you were to get placed on the yard and you would look, you'd probably look like double. To them, it's just like normal now. Because I guess it's just part of the normal now. Well, that's what you see, man. They're like in love. Just imagine a guy and a girl walking into the park holding hands. That's what it looks like. But except they're both dudes. In love. Imagine them getting drunk and fighting, like on the streets, a domestic dispute. That's what it looks like in there. Fighting all the time over other dudes, jealousy, cell moves. Give me a cell move with my boyfriend. No. Give me a cell move with my boyfriend. No. You're always fighting. So imagine being a CO, you're trying to have to manage this lover's quarrel.
Isn't that stuff against the rules in
that's
prison?
what I was just going to say.
Supposed to be. But then again, so is carrying a weapon. Everybody has them. Supposed to be.
Is rape prevalent in there?
Not in the way. Not as much as you would think. Not as much as like a Hollywood movie would portray it to be, right? Like, does it happen? Yes. Has it happened? Yes. Will it continue to happen? Yes. What does it look like? It looks like it's like an OG in the cell who gets a younger person in the cell and takes advantage of them. That's what it looks like. And then, fortunately, in the morning, the youngster will let us know, hey, I got raped last night. And that's a real one, right? That's a real one. It's like, you got to put everybody in handcuffs. You got to separate the suspect from the victim. It's a big deal, bro. Rapes in prison are a big deal. It's the Prison Rape Elimination Act, PREA. You have to send them both to outside hospitals to get a SART examination. Oh, dude, it's so awful. You got to do an investigation. You got to give the victim mental health treatment because, dude, you don't want to be a victim of that. And it's just all, no pun intended, but.
Damn.
It's, now that's the real one, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the inmates manipulate the system. They get in an argument with their boyfriend. Hey, my boyfriend raped me. We still have to do the whole process. Send them both out to the hospital. Send them both to ADSEC. Just so an hour later, he can tell me, he didn't really rape me, Lieutenant. He just made me mad, so I just said that. But just think about how much money and resources we wasted as a department and state playing with these games,
What is like some of the worst violence you've seen some of these gay gangsters do?
Stabbing, slashings. I guess if there's levels to violence in prison, ultimately would be committing murder, right? Committing murder.
Right.
Maybe decapitating somebody would be taking it to that next level. There was a stabbing in Salinas Valley State Prison last year where the inmate stabbed the other guy in the eyeball and then stomped on the knife. There's a video of it. Now that brutal murder, that dude took that up to a whole nother level, right? So, to answer your question, gay boy gangsters can and up to and including murder. It's not a thing. I don't think people need to understand that murder is not a big deal in prison. It's fairly common.
Who are they beefing with? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who would be like their main rival?
Who's their op?
So when I was on the yard at Charlie Yard, on Delta Yard, they were there. They weren't really beefing with nobody there, right? Because you got to think every prison is different or operates different. Every yard operates different. So they weren't really beefing with nobody. Nobody was really beefing with them. They were in existence. Same with Delta Yard. That was a good yard though. But I did hear that they got off in New Folsom, CSP SAC, New Folsom, and I believe who the f did they get off on? The Northern Riders. So they were beefing with the Northern Riders. And I believe the Northern Riders are a dropout Norteño gang, North gang. So there you have it. The GBGs and the Northern Riders got off on each other in New Folsom.
Pause. No, I'm just kidding.
Pause.
He doesn't
I don't
get
think
it.
he know he doesn't get
Why?
it.
Because I said got off?
Got off on each other.
That's like, that's a no homo. That's a no homo moment to pause.
Right. No. But that did happen.
Yeah.
So, but you don't want to ever get your ass kicked by a transgender inmate, man. That was one of my biggest fears. So I had a couple fears in prison. One was that you never get slashed on my face, right? I never wanted to f this up. Then two, which would be get my ass kicked by a transgender. The homies will never live it down. My partners. Imagine going your whole career. You will always be known as that motherfucker that got his ass whooped by a tranny. Like, that's a fact. No matter what you do in your career, you can never make that go away. So I'm not going to say I was nice to them or avoided them. I was chill. I treated everybody the same, dude. Like, consistently. I used to call the transgenders dude. During hearings, RVR, hey, dude, come here. But they never tripped on me because they knew I wasn't doing it from a bad place. Right? I wasn't trying to make fun or disrespect. Hey, dude. Why do you believe that because they're gay that they don't have the same level of viciousness or that they operate different than any other gang?
No.
They do. They function.
They're still
I
men.
definitely
Right,
feel
they're
like
men.
They got men strength with the attitude of a woman. That's vicious.
Facts.
yeah, no,
Facts.
I definitely feel like
Facts.
they can get wild too. There ain't nothing
Exactly.
stopping them.
Correct.
They still got testosterone.
They got testosterone and hormones,
And-
whatever,
yeah,
because they take the shots, they take the pills.
Now I've heard from an inside source says that they get top tier medical inside of the prison. They get
Okay.
Ozempic, they get
Let
all
me-
types of stuff.
Let me say this to the American people, whoever watches worldwide. California taxpayers are paying for inmates, transgenders, to get breast implants, to get BBLs, to get their anus bleached. That's a fact. What else are they getting? To get mammograms, to get every weird thing you can think of, they're getting paid. Or they're getting top Beverly Hills sex realignment surgery. So if you want to get your penis chopped off, you can get that. If you're a male with the penis and you say, hey, warden, I'm a woman, I want to go to the women's facility, they'll send your ass to a women's prison where there's been a lot of rapes and there's been a lot of pregnancies as a result of mixing. You know, we talked about mixing.
So the guy goes over there as a woman,
as a
and
sex
then-
offender.
as a sex offender, and then when he gets to the women's prison,
He rapes
the
her.
women inmates are pregnant.
Correct.
Wow.
Facts. I mean, there was a prison where they were searching the yard for allegedly that they buried a baby, that the lady gave birth to the baby and they buried it in the yard. That was a rumor that had transpired. They had the ISU searching the yard for a buried baby. Like, this is the sick stuff that's happening in California prisons.
Just listening to you, this almost sounds like a weird, sick experiment, man. To me, like, I never looked at it at this level, but somewhere along the line, this has got to be like some kind of sick experiment.
The f***ed thing about it, dude, I've been yelling at the top of my lungs for 3 years, and I don't feel like there's been such a drastic change that I believe should have happened. I mean, right? If people caught wind of all this shit, shouldn't have, like, whoa.
Right. And no one has. So this is where the taxpayer dollars goes.
Well, you mentioned you have met Suge Knight,
Yes.
and you said that you don't think anybody would do anything to
Nah.
him. Why is that?
Because his reputation, number one, and I pretty much just leave it at that. His reputation, his size. He's a big dude. Somebody told me recently he had lost a lot of weight, but I really didn't pay any mind. But his reputation,
I think he has, if I'm not mistaken, I think he may have diabetes or something.
something, and his candor, how he carries himself. The dude is not a dummy, right? He's very respectful. So how you carry yourself, it goes a long way.
Now, I believe he's on a 50-50 yard. Or
S&Y.
S&Y yard. Now, do you think he would be safer on a GP yard?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Not anymore.
Why you say that?
Because he's been hanging on the S&Y for
Well,
too long.
I'm saying, say he never went to the S&Y yard.
I think he would have been fine on that GP. I don't even know why he went S&Y to begin with. And I got nothing bad to say about that guy. Like, I actually hope to talk to him, like, in the future, right? But I don't know why he didn't choose to go S&Y GP. I don't know the details behind that. I think he would have been fine, dude. I think he would have been fine. Again, I don't know his internal politics with his gang or the gang or the crime or the crimes, but...
You never seen Suge have no problems in there or nothing?
No. There's, okay, if you were to say he's a convict, he knows how to carry himself like a convict, right? As a convict is the old school people before my time, before 2006, like guys in the 90s, they knew how to do their time. And then the newer generation that we have now, I mean, look at the streets, bro. You got dudes with Edgar haircuts. You got dudes with like weird shit, like, and they're supposed to be gangster. It's just the generations have changed. He's on that old school shit, so like ain't nobody really gonna with him, unless you get a lot of youngsters that go up against him.
What type of person was he celled up with?
I don't know. I don't even know. I didn't check who his cellie was.
You know, one thing, you know, when I've interviewed people that I've seen can kind of be a problem, like, is if a white dude, like say he's a Crip or a Blood, and he walks on the yard, you know, the whites are going to try to get him. Not, you know, they're going to be like, are you riding over here? But if he's like, nah, I'm going with the Bloods of the Crips, and then if the Bloods and the Crips don't accept him, that it's a serious problem.
So I'll have to turn back the hands of time to 2008. Sentinella State Prison. And again, 2008, things were normal in prison. It was a level 3 GP yard, level 3 general population, Bravo yard, which was active as, dude, it was active. Bro, looking back in hindsight, that yard was fucking active. The riots, the staff assaults, the dope, it was busy. I was new. And the officers, my partners tell me, hey, there's going to be a riot tomorrow. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? Because we just got a white Crip. I'm like, okay, like, what does that mean? Like, oh, it's a white Crip. Like, the whites are going to go off. They're going to kick it off with the blacks. Tomorrow, we like, they already knew what time it was. And I'm like, oh, okay. Sure enough, dude, it was a white Crip. But the Crips accepted him, right? He was a white Crip. And they kicked it off. The whites and the blacks. But at that point in time, there was race riots. 100-man, 200-man riots. In 2014,
let's take on this real quick before we move on. Well, how did that riot, you know, end? Like, how bad was it? You know, and did he end up leaving the yard?
No. Well, did he end up leaving the yard? Maybe they got him off the yard. Maybe administration got him off the yard. Right? At that time, they were not going to leave a problem in place. If they observed the problem, they were probably going to remove the problem, and then he can go wherever he wants, and they can continue to riot wherever, elsewhere. The way riots used to, think of it as a war. In war, you have numerous battles, right?
Small battles.
So if the whites kicked it off with the blacks, because you're always, for the most part, depending on how it kicks off, if it's planned, there's going to be one aggressor, right? The whites are going to sneak attack, or they're going to launch the attack. In that case, you would consider probably the blacks the victim, because it all depends on who got off first and who had the most numbers, right? That inflicted the most damage. So let's say the whites initiated the attack on the blacks. They're going to get their get back. The blacks will run it back. And this was common knowledge. The blacks will run it back. They're going to go on lockdown, then the whites will run it back. It would run back and forth probably like 2 or 3 times before the war was over. Before they both agreed, hey, we've had enough, it's over. That's how that looked.
Can you tell when the war is about to kick off? See people walk around with their boots on?
Let's say there's numerous ways a riot can kick off. Let's say I'm a black dude and there's a Mexican table. And I accidentally go over there and I just start stepping on accident. I fall over. A Mexican dude gets mad, hits the black, boom, it erupts. You see how that wasn't planned? It just kicked off. Now, because it kicked off, yeah, that's going to continue. But as opposed to like a real planned thorough, that's going to last longer.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a couple questions about the white crip situation. Is that the only situation that you've seen like that?
That I was involved in. That's happened more in other places. That is, at the time, that was common practice. If a white crip or white whatever touches down, the whites were going to get off. And the whites do not around, dude. Like, they make the best weapons in prison, by far. The best. Like, immaculate knives. So, like...
Machine shop.
Yeah, immaculate. But, yeah. But it's not... that white crip is viewed as one of them, dude. It's not even an issue. It's not even a question as if, is he a crip or not? He's definitely a fucking crip. And you ask him, he's definitely a crip. You tell him, hey, are you a crip? We're going to put you back out here? Yeah, I'm a crip. Put me back out there. They're like ride or die all the way.
Now, I'm also hearing that fentanyl is going crazy right now, and people are overdosing a lot in prison and jail.
You would be shocked and floored if you knew how many inmates overdose a day in the California penal system and how many inmates actually die of overdoses. You would be floored. Your jaw would drop. The public has no idea. Daily. A couple times a day, where what it looks like is an officer will be doing his rounds in the building, security check, looks in the cell. You have a dude out cold, blue, stiff,
Foaming.
foam, throw up, blood, shit, piss, vomit. Central control, be advised, I have a unresponsive man down inmate. Pull his ass out of the cell. Dude could be heavy, 300 pounds, pull his ass out. In the control booth, they have an ambu bag. An ambu bag is like a bag that you put over the face and you go like this, and then you start doing chest compressions. As correctional officers, we're first responders. We're trained in CPR. We get annually trained on CPR. So COs are constantly doing CPRs on inmates, right? You know, they always say like, oh, guards are assholes or they just love to beat up inmates. Dude, they're always trying to save these lives. Trust me. They know it too. Pumping on these dudes' chest. They'll bring the AED. The defibrillator, boom. Like it's patches, 2 patches. It says standby, shock. And it's not like in the movies, they're gonna bounce, but it does a shock. Hit them with a Narcan. So now the inmates are in possession of Narcan. Inmates have their own Narcan. How wild is that? Hit them with Narcan, hit them with CPR, hit them with the AED. Sometimes you can bring them back to life. They come back, but sometimes they're dead. I'm talking about being dead to coming back to life.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I tell the guy, hey man, you really need to stop doing drugs. You died. We brought you back. Oh, I know, LT, I know. Guess what he does the next day?
Overdoses.
Yeah, bro.
Jeez.
It's not a laughing matter.
Wow.
It's not a laughing matter because now we're talking about money. Why would Governor Newsom love Narcan? Because they're investing all this money in the homeless, in the Narcan, in the fentanyl. They're manufacturing chaos and they're profiting off of it.
Whoa.
So besides Suge, is there been any other famous people that you've met?
Oh God, the Menendez brothers, bro. Which I don't even like to talk about them. I can't believe I just brought them up right now. They recently got denied parole. Both of them.
I've seen that. Yeah.
They were on my yard, Echo Yard, Donovan, level 2 non-designated. So they were on one of those level 2 yards. Well, murals all over the place. It looks like you're in a Looney Tunes cartoon drawing fucking, what's that, Roadrunner. There's murals everywhere. They were trying to lie to the public, saying that they're all rehabilitated and all ready to come home. But in reality, they kept getting caught with cell phones inside prison, which is a violation of the rules. But they actually had managers and lieutenants looking out for them and making their write-ups disappear by hitting the delete button on the computer.
Wow.
That's shady.
Oh, so now it looks like they got a pretty clean record when they're going up for parole.
Exactly. But I had the LA district attorney reach out to me because of my YouTube videos where I wild out and tell the truth. He said, hey man, would you be willing to give us some information on what's going on? And I told him, I said, do you have any documentation of this? I said, I have one write-up. I have one copy of one write-up that I recently got caught with. He's like, would you email it to me? Yeah, and I emailed it to him. It's kind of funny because they did bring up in the hearing, they told the brothers, you guys are not ready to come home. You guys keep getting caught with cell phones, right? But I want to make it very clear. I wasn't happy that their parole got denied. Even though I was saying they don't deserve to parole, I don't find gratification in another man's downfall, right? What I was saying is, hey, there's the rules, there's a policy, they should be applied equally to all. Okay, don't fudge the numbers, don't do shady shit. That's what I was getting at. Does that make sense?
Yeah. They got power and money.
Money, there you go. Power and money and celebrity status. Or celebrities.
What year did you start?
November 27, 2006.
Was Tookie Williams still around at the time?
I don't know, dude, because he was up north. Where was he? San Quentin?
Think so.
San Quentin.
Yeah.
Death Row, I think.
Okay.
When
anybody
I had
else
joined,
famous come through? Any famous rappers or anything back then come through?
Do you remember the game? The rap artist? You know, he talks about the Serena Williams sister getting shot in a drive-by.
Yeah.
That dude, the suspect that shot Serena Williams' sister, he was at Sentinel State Prison on Delta Yard when it was level 3 GP. And I transported that dude from Sentinel to San Diego to a hospital appointment, doctor, and then back because he was a high notoriety inmate. But I was a brand new CO, dude, so I didn't know much. But my partner said, hey, that dude right there, that's the dude that killed Serena Williams' sister with the AK-47. So I'm like, fuck. He has since paroled. If you type in his name, he has since paroled.
Wow.
Everybody's paroling, dude. Everybody's paroling.
Damn.
It's not like what it was used to be before.
You know, you were speaking earlier about about you meeting people that were, had an elbow, as they call it, or a life sentence, and they got out and they're doing good for themselves, man. I absolutely know one dude. His name is Sam Brown.
Okay.
And he spent 24 years in prison, and for some crimes that he committed way when he was a youth, pretty much. And he's got out, man, and since then, man, he's done a world of good, man. So, there are some people, man, who can come through this shit and be all right.
So you said he was a youth. The human brain does not stop developing until the age of 25, right? And something I've come to notice, I'm a very spiritual man, right? I don't like to say religious because a lot of people are off-put by religion, but I have a strong faith. I've come to realize something, dude. Men in general, young men, we're all looking for the same thing: adventure, testosterone, like a tribe. Some people join gangs to find it. Other people join the military. Other people go off to law enforcement. I think it's whatever options you have and whatever guidance you have at the time.
We're just commenting about the age of, like, you being young, your mind not developing until you're 25. It's called something. He actually, the same guy, Sam Brown, he wrote this. It's called like emotional-based trauma.
Right.
And this is like what half of these guys that are in jail, they did this when their minds were like,
absolutely,
like not even developed. They had they were just emotionally traumatized, and traumatized people traumatize people.
Hurt people.
Yeah.
So, like, dude, I'm not saying I have the solution to help the youth, but I'm pretty sure I've identified the problem, right? And it's a system. It's a broken system. I wish that we can get through to these youth, and I wish I could show them what their end game looks like if they continue down the path of gangs. Because I've sat down in offices with lots of old gangsters, man, and they regret it at the age of 50, 60, 70. They all say the same thing.
Yeah.
I saw it too late. I got the picture too late. One youngster, he was around early 30s. I said, dude, you got that shit quick, man. The light bulb went off quick, because he did get that shit quick. I said, you're lucky. But it's all how soon they get see the big picture, dude.
That's good. Well, man, you at 17, you joined the military.
I was young and dumb, dude.
Yeah.
That's why the military capitalizes on young, naive, dumb men.
Do you feel like the military goes after like kids that really don't have no other way out, kind of like trapped, isolated? This is their way out?
Absolutely. So do gang leaders, though. So do gang organizations.
Same model.
Same model.
That's good. So you 17, you getting in, what year was that?
Oh, shit,
2000.
Dude. Well, I graduated high school in 2002, and I joined the Army in 2002.
Okay. So you're in the military. Isn't a war going on at that time, right?
The war was raging in Afghanistan, and we were about to invade Iraq in 2003, March of 2003.
Damn, so is it safe to say you're a combat veteran?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so take me back. We was talking a little bit earlier, and this is a question I had already had for you. You were talking about September 10th, 2004.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, tell me about this gentleman by the name of Edgar Dion.
Edgar Daclon.
Daclon. Okay.
He was from Torrance, California. Dude, he was our medic. I was an infantryman, a grunt. So if anybody watches the movies, you know when they always yell, medic, medic. He's the ones that are supposed to come and patch you up and help you. It was September 10, 2004, which is my mom's birthday. We were in Balad, Iraq. It was morning time, dude. And I get woken up in the morning by my sergeant, Sergeant Dean. Hey, get up, get your shit on. We just got incoming. We just got mortared. We're QRF, we're quick reaction force. We're gonna go out and find this shit. And I wake up and I'm groggy. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I didn't hear the bombs go off. You know, because normally you would hear the bombs go off or feel them. The morning was weird, man. It was like probably 7 a.m. I don't know, 6, 7, 8 a.m. We're driving to the point of origin because we have satellites that track the trajectory of the round. So it'll give you the location of where the rounds came from, the mortars came from. So it was just a matter of time before the insurgents, the Iraqis, set us up. It was just a matter of time before they set us up. Because we use the same playbook every time. We'd go out to the location that they mortared us from. So one of the last vehicles, we always rolled in 4 vehicles. It was a Humvee, a 113, which is an armored personnel carrier from Vietnam, and then 2 other Humvees. The last Humvee broke down, which nobody realized. So they call on the radio. The lieutenant made the decision. Farrell, my last name's Farrell. My full name is Hector Bravo Farrell. Farrell, take your vehicle, go link up with the broken down vehicle. Roger that, LT. Go back over there. The 2 vehicles that were stopped at the T intersection, we were right down the street from the point of origin. I didn't give it much thought whether they were going to continue mission or whether they were going to wait for us to come back and link up with them, right? Because now we're 2 separate elements. I didn't think anything of that. As I go back to the other vehicle, dude, I hear the loudest explosion I've ever heard in my life, and it rumbled. That shit rumbled, echoed, thundered, and everybody stopped. Like, what the was that? And then you hear the AK. You hear rifle fire. We're like, what the? Hey, oh shit! Right, because your brain's trying to figure it out. They went ahead and they got hit. So I'm yelling, let's go, get in the Humvee, let's go right now, let's go. Right, our brothers are getting up, let's go.
Right.
So they were probably a mile down the road, dude. We load up in the Humvees, and I take a shortcut. I see a Humvee. To me, the tires were flat. I jump out of my Humvee with the M16, and Sergeant Eggers to my right, and he says, they killed Doc. And I look at him, dude, I'm only 19 years old, bro. Up until this point, we'd never lost anybody. I said, what do you mean they killed Doc? He said, look, they killed Doc. He's right over there on the road. Oh, dude. I look over there, and there's a body laying down on his back.
Is that the first time you seen a dead body?
No, not a dead body.
Okay.
A dead friend.
Oh,
A dead American. And I run over there and I look at his face, and he had like dry drops of blood on his face. And I look, and I'm going down his body, and I look at his right shin. His shin is exposed. I see the bone. He's already dead, but it doesn't look like Doc. And I'm like, what the? And then I realize that there's vehicles coming down the road. It was an unsecured scene. So I start shooting at this vehicle. The vehicle turns around, does a U-turn, and then there's a white truck coming. So I shoot. I shot over. The truck is still coming. I shoot down at the street. The truck is still coming. And this is the time they were hitting us with car bombs. So what ended up happening is the insurgents had put a bomb, 2 artillery rounds, 155.
IED?
They put an IED in a mound of dirt. So when my friend Doc stopped the Humvee, bro, they stopped the Humvee right next to the bomb. He got out. The insurgent that was hiding in the canal, he touched the 2 9-volt batteries that was attached to the copper wire, and he blew the bomb up, which blew up. Oh, dude, it killed my friend Daclon, and it wounded our lieutenant. He took shrapnel to the bottom of his foot, and it wounded my friend O'Neill. He took shrapnel to the back of his head, dude. It f***ed him up.
Damn.
So this truck that comes, it was an old man, bro. He was like 80 years old. He was blind and deaf. That's why he wasn't stopping when we were shooting at the window. And I pulled him out. We beat his ass, dude. We were angry. We throw him back in the vehicle, and he turns around and he drives off. So then me and my friend Weeks, by then the cavalry is coming, bro. By then the cavalry came. Everybody came from the camp. There was a lot of people there towards the end. And we can see the wire where the dude was watching. We're like, fuck. It was right here. He saw the road. And there's a village right here. He detonated and he ran into this village. We would eventually drop 2 500-pound bombs on that village. Like, that's just the way it was in like 04,
Wow.
05. Yeah, we would just some shit up.
Man.
And that's how my friend was killed, dude.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. R.I.P. to him, man.
Thank you.
Man, you've been pretty vocal about saying, man, how, man, sending, you've been traumatized through this, man, how, what war does to people, man, and you've said that war is big business. Man.
Big business.
War and prison
Absolutely.
are big business.
Yep.
Let me ask this question. How many people you think that are like ex-military veterans that actually work in the prison system? Think there's a good percentage?
A lot.
A lot. Okay. Do you think that a lot of the veterans are better suited to deal with chaos of being in prison? You think so?
Yes, but it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Yeah.
Explain to me how.
They have the experience to deal with chaos in a professional, meticulous manner. But at the same time, dude, when the trauma hits, the trauma hits. When the trauma happens, the trauma not only starts a new trauma, but reopens old wounds.
Okay.
So it's like you have a scar, and this is me telling you now, looking back. It's like you have a scar, and you're just cutting the scar over and over and over.
Peeling off a scab.
You're just making the wound worse. So yeah, you're good at your job, but what is that doing to you mentally and physically and spiritually?
Wow, man. Okay. Yeah, and sometime I've heard you in some of your past interviews on Vlad TV and other outlets, Soft White Underbelly, you've described prison as like working in a zoo where all of the animals, the cages have been opened.
That's a fact. Because CDCR has an obligation to protect human lives, and to include the inmates, right? Because the inmates are in the care of the state. They're in custodial care.
Okay.
And I say this because I've had an epiphany. I'm like, Hector, why are you so passionate about this whole thing, right? I'm like, because these inmates don't have a choice. They can't open the door and leave, because if they could open the door and leave, they would leave. But the fact that you're forcing them to kill each other is where the problem lies.
You've also made some, man, that's dope perspective, man. You've also made some statements saying, you talk about the different races of inmates that are in there or incarcerated individuals that are in there, and you said the black inmates are some of the most problematic. Explain to the viewers how. What makes it so problematic for blacks that are incarcerated in California?
So if there's a Mexican that gets out of line, before he gets out of line, there's a list of rules that his own people set out that he should not be violating. So those rules keep him in line. To my knowledge, dude, the blacks do not have a set written rules that they have to abide by.
Or at least they're not following them, if they do have them.
I don't think they have them.
Okay.
But they're definitely not following them. And one might be being drunk on the tier. You know, they make the homemade wine, Pruno.
Pruno, yeah.
They ferment the fruit. The Mexicans have a rule. If you're an inmate, you cannot be drunk out on the tier. You cannot be out in the public. The blacks don't have that rule. So if you encounter a black inmate under the influence of Pruno, that's going to turn into a problem.
So they out there tripping.
Oh, dude, are they tripping? Yes.
You've also stated in some of those interviews that the Mexican inmates are some of the most violent, though.
The Mexicans and the whites.
Mexicans and the whites, okay.
Yeah.
What makes them so violent?
I think their ability to use weapons, their willingness to use weapons. Then you want to talk about numbers. So the two races that have the most population are the blacks and the Mexicans.
Okay.
Right. The Mexicans use weapons per their gang politics, it's just since the beginning of time, and so do the whites. That's not to say that the blacks do not use weapons, but in my experience from where I've been, those fights look like 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, fist fights.
Okay.
As opposed to, I'm going to send two Mexicans with knives to brutally this dude up bad, where we're going to hurt or kill him.
We were talking a little bit earlier about like the phones, the drugs, contraband, how much of a huge issue that is. How you think they're actually getting inside the prisons?
Various ways.
All right, give me the ways they're getting in there.
Dope, female visitors, right? They secrete it in their cavities. Dope, drones in 2025.
Drones?
Drone drops in 2022, 2021. A drone, bro. A drone.
Who's brave enough to do that, man?
It's not that hard if you pay a tweaker from the streets, from like El Cajon. Hey, dude, we'll give you $100. You fucking fly this drone, drop this package, and we'll give you this much money and a fake cell phone or a burner, right? Like, what they do, dude, is they'll drop a football full of dope, cell phones, or staff members. Staff members do, right? And I'm not gonna say all of them or some of them. They've been known to introduce contraband into an institution.
All right.
I've known of it. You have female officers that have sexual relationship with inmates. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. I've known of it personally of at least 5.
I think there was one I saw. It was a young female, and I guess she got walked off the yard. And later on, she might have done some prison time. She ended up marrying the dude once he got out.
100%, dude. I went to the academy with one. I went to the academy with a female friend that I knew since kindergarten who was a CO, smashing an inmate, got fired, married the inmate, and ended up on the visitors list.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow, man. Hey, what do you think are the biggest loopholes that are allowing this to continue to happen? Is it the prison model that keeps allowing the drugs, the cell phones, It's the
image. Okay, so if I tell you everything that I've just told you for, I don't know how long we've been talking, 2 hours. I told you all the problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you thought CDCR were to watch this episode on Monday and be like, oh my God, we have all these problems, let's get started on it right away, the solutions. That's not the world we live in. I have been blowing the whistle for 2.5 years. Do you want to know what repercussions have come my way as a result of blowing the whistle? CDCR has initiated 2 frivolous search warrants, 2 fake search warrants into my email accounts, YouTube accounts, bank accounts. They subpoenaed my phone records from T-Mobile.
Really?
Yes. They're trying to catch people they believe are leaking me information.
Damn, man.
It's like Nazi Germany, dude. It's like the German Gestapo.
Man, sometimes maybe I know you trained, bro, and you trained and you ready, but do you ever be thinking sometime like, man, you may have to get down with a higher force?
I already know. Okay. And it's one of those things where I've accepted my fate. I've accepted my fate in my brain and in my heart and with my God. Okay, even Jesus knew that they were going to crucify him. He knew that they were going to crucify him. I've accepted my fate that I have gone up against this beast and they're not going to be happy about it. And I don't put anything past them, up and to include putting my personal safety at risk.
Man, well, I can tell you this, man. Man, I'll say this, man. A man speaks the truth straight to the point, even if he sees destruction in his path. There's an old proverb that says that's more liberating for a real man. So let me commend you on that, bro.
I might have to, whenever I watch that video, I'm going to have to clip it, dude,
Yeah,
because I like that.
Yeah,
tell
man.
me afterwards,
You're
I like that.
speaking the truth straight to the point, man. You see the destruction in its path and you still going in that direction.
Because I can't tell you
Most
how
men would
liberating.
turn and run, though. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But you know why they will turn and run? Because they haven't made peace with themselves yet.
Okay.
They're still trying to focus on outside things to define them when the happiness comes from within. Right? You can't put a price on my integrity, bro, or ethics or morals or values. You can't put a price on the blood that flows through me, my family last name. To me, that is more important than any monetary value.
Right. Let me ask you a question. So you got a young guy going into jail right now. Some guy that's going into jail. And he was this badass on the street and he's all of this. Tell him what he can expect when he goes to jail.
Off the top, he's not going to be the most badass in the jail. Off the top, I don't care how he feels about it, right? Because the jail operates in its own beast and its own monster, more so prison. What you can expect is to fall in line or get put in line, right? I'm not necessarily saying by the COs, because that line has not really been pushed like it used to. I'm saying by your own people, by the inmates. And then you will have to navigate the monster and navigate the beast of being put in a bad, dangerous predicament by the administration. Then you're going to have to start making some life choices. Do I need to make a knife? If I get caught with a knife, how much time am I going to get? Right? You're going to start, am I still in my head? Do I still think I'm a big badass? Do I still think I'm part of this gang? If I think I'm part of this gang, I better ride with this gang all the way. Are they willing to ride for me all the way? Then you start seeing the deception, right? And the politicking and the misloyalty, because not everybody's loyal, bro. I don't give a f- if you're a prison guard, an inmate, a gang member, or a soldier. There's a lot of disloyal out here in this world.
Yeah, I think loyalty is dead in general.
Oh, it's not dead because me and you are.
I mean, that's true. But what I mean is, on a whole, and that's just indicative of our age group too. We're a little bit, but the younger dudes, man, there's no loyalty.
But I'm
man.
trying to hold on to loyalty, man. Like I'm trying to hold on, like, and this is YouTube, so we're preserving history. We're saying like, hey, it's possible to be loyal, dude, to your brother.
This is true.
You know what I mean? And those are the men that taught me from the army. Edgar Dacklin, he gave his life for us.
Man, that's
all the lessons I learned in life, bro, I learned the hard way.
Yeah, man, you've seen through your eyes, man. You've seen war. You've seen the harsh realities of the prison system. You said, I think in a previous interview, you said like one of your only regrets is like hurting people in the past.
Oh, dude, I forgot which one that was. Soft White Underbelly. He said, "Do you have any regrets?" And right off the top, I answered no. But when I really thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I never said this on this episode. I have 14 years of sobriety going on 15 years of sobriety. I'm an alcoholic. When I actively drank alcohol and consumed drugs, I hurt a lot of people in my path, dude. When I was suffering from undiagnosed and untreated post-traumatic stress disorder, I hurt a lot of people. We said earlier, hurt people. Now that didn't give me the right. I don't get a pass. I don't get an excuse. But the way I live my life now is making a living amends. And dude, we were wondering, Hector, why do you have so much passion? Why do you care? Why do you want to help people? Why are you trying to help inmates, Hector? They're inmates. Because, dude, I've hurt people for so long that now the only thing I can do is help. I can never rectify my past at all. But now I can live every day forward, giving back, being selfless.
Yeah, man, that's truly dope, man. Hector, you telling it raw and, man, unfiltered. And it's like, you know, for the people around the country, man, you know, you see Donald Trump going at Gavin Newsom and all of this stuff going back and forth.
Yeah.
And people think like, you know, maybe Donald Trump's just tripping, but maybe Donald Trump is tripping for a real reason.
Two things to be said.
Okay.
Newsom is all bad, number one. Two, regarding Trump, I as a person do not put my full trust in any political figure or any other man.
Okay.
That makes sense though?
Okay.
Because people say like, oh, are you for Trump or are you against Trump? Do you like ICE or do you not like ICE? It's like, well, number one, I don't like any government entity, right? There's a difference between government and country. I love my country.
Right.
Right. But I have lots of reasons to not trust my country at times.
Yeah, well, you would know.
I was part of the machine.
Yeah,
I was a pawn in the game.
You were part of the outside of the machine and the inside of the machine.
Facts.
You know the mouth and the ass of the shit. No homo, pause.
Hey, bro, you got some good one-liners, man. Your one-liners are good, dude.
Yeah, man.
And you're quick with it.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, man. No, you've definitely got that together. We can never take that away from you, man. But so check this out, man. How are you applying the lessons you learned about, you know, with everything? Like if you had a message, you can look right at the camera and tell people, say, you know, these are the lessons I've learned, and like what's your message to the world?
This is my message to the world. I have not always been perfect. The reason why I know how things operate now is because I learned what did not work. Right. At one point, I had a lot of hate for a whole ethnic group of people, the Iraqi people. I had hate and vengeance in my freaking heart, right? Because in my belief system, I believe they were the cause of my trauma and my hurt. But when I sit back and I think of what really transpired is they were really only just trying to live their own life in their own country, and our government went and invaded and sold us a bunch of lies, I'm able to sit back now. I'm able to not hold resentments, make amends. And I believe that the world, and I also believe God speaks through me. And he's saying, now is the time. Now is the time to love one another. Love each neighbor as they are your own. And stop hurting each other.
Man, that's a powerful message, man. And
I believe it, dude.
Man, oh yeah.
There's no other explanation of why I didn't get killed all those times I should have been killed, dude.
Even while in jail. I mean, I'm sure you had some fights too. You just didn't get beat by.
Never that, man. Or slashing the
transformer.
Face, never that.
A transformer. Yeah, a transmission they call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. But man,
I believe that, bro. I believe we're at a turning point, 2025. That I believe America is waking up. The world is waking up, and they're seeing the evil that's out there.
But it's a lot of people are coming to the forefront about that, man. And that's pretty dope in itself. I wanted to say, so if we could place you in charge tomorrow, state of California calls you up, says, Hector, we need you to overhaul the California state prison system. Where would you start?
Leadership. Replace the leadership.
Everybody's fired tomorrow, day after tomorrow?
I would hate to say everybody, but let's be real. 90% of the people will be fired. They'll be fired right off the top. Mandatory. Because it's a cancer, bro. It's a cancer.
Are those officers publicly held or appointed for the people that are running the prison system?
Appointed at the top. Appointed by the governor. Imagine that.
So Gavin Newsom would never.
No, but Chad Bianco would. And Chad Bianco knows me. And Chad Bianco's well aware of me.
Okay.
All right. Chad Bianco has hinted that he would appoint me Secretary of CCR.
Man, that would be powerful,
right,
man.
But you gotta understand, dude, that's something I'm not jumping to joy to inherit. But am I willing to do the job? Yeah, I'm willing.
Maybe that would be your calling.
Dude,
after all of this.
I'm tired of all these callings, man. Can I just chill, dude? I want to play Xbox.
Keep bringing you back.
I want to play Xbox, dude.
Now, the message is so strong, it keeps bringing you right back to where you're trying to get away from.
I don't need no more callings.
That's like the story. That's like the story of Job, man. You keep suffering.
But I got a daughter, man. I got a daughter. So if anything, I want to be a role model to her.
And you always talk about her too, man. When we have our conversations on the phone, you talk about how special she is to you, and you know her playing on the softball teams, man, and And I'm sure she's loved, and she knows she's loved by you, man.
She changed the game for me, man. I used to be a wild CO. I used to do a lot of, on the blind border things. And then when I had her, I was like, man, I can't mess around like this no more. I can get fired. I can get put in a bad position. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like not breaking the rules, but kind of bending the rules.
Yeah.
Skirting the gray area.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to wrap up with a few more questions.
Shoot 'em, man.
All right. So what's that gentleman's name who you say you know up there? What's pronounce his name?
Chad Bianco from the Riverside Sheriff, which is probably around. Yeah,
Chad Bianco. So got Chad Bianco to bring you back, man. What kind of salary will they have to give you?
You gotta understand, dude. I don't care about money.
Okay,
right? You know what I mean? But hey, I'm not gonna be knocking $200,000 because I was making $157,000 a year as a lieutenant. So I would take $200,000.
Man, that ain't bad. 157.
I hate Sacramento though, man. So I'm gonna have to wiggle it in where I can work out of San Diego.
Okay.
And teleconference. Yes. And then we're gonna have to just revamp. Just go back. Old school. Not crazy 1970s, 80s, old school, but maybe mid-90s, early 2000s. Safety and security. With rehabilitation. Real rehabilitation. Okay? I will put forth the effort. I will personally speak to these inmates incarcerated, and I'll tell them, look, man, all of you. You have an opportunity of going home, all right? A lot of you guys have suffered trauma, all right? We're all men here. We all have emotions, whether we like to admit it or not. We need to get to the center of our trauma, identify our emotions, and work through the problem, all right? And that'll help us reintegrate back into society. That's what real rehabilitation looks like, addressing your issues head on.
They say, I was just in Sacramento last weekend with the gentleman I spoke of named Sam Brown, and he's run his called a 10P program, which is an emotional literacy program. I was telling you about him. And while I was there, he says that one of the things that they use against a lot of the incarcerated individuals is that they are antisocial, that they don't know how to socialize with other inmates. I think that's kind of a trick bag. Like, you're in prison fighting. He says something, they use that against them. They say, oh, you're antisocial, you're antisocial.
Yeah, antisocial traits. Antisocial traits. But you want to hear the kicker?
What's that?
I probably display some antisocial traits.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I'm technically an introvert versus an extrovert. Believe it or not.
You don't seem that way.
But even though I yell on the internet and wave my hands and scream, I'm actually an introvert. I'm only doing this because, I have a silly side to me and a childish side to me, but I want to bring awareness to what's really happening.
Right.
Dude, I'm not going to say I hate people, but I love my solitude. Okay. Right, so cool. So the answer to those men, if they tell you, hey, you're antisocial, my response to them would be like, you know what? I am antisocial. As a reason because in my experiences, I have been betrayed. I have been lied to. I have been bamboozled. Many people I can't trust because they've proven to me that they can't be trusted. Therefore, I find happiness in solitude. Call me antisocial, because that's the reality of that answer.
Cool, man. Well, Hector, man, it's been a joy, man. It's been a joy, man. I really enjoyed interviewing you today. If we got the fans out there looking for you, how can they find you and watch more of your material?
Hector Bravo Unhinged on YouTube. That's where I interview people. Like, that's kind of where I want to. I'm trying to get away from me just speaking on the camera, bro. I want other people to share their story.
That's why I'm gonna come and join you.
Exactly. We talked about this. Hector Bravo Unhinged.
Bravo Unhinged.
They'll see you there. And
anything else?
My documentary Grunt is on Amazon. You just type in Grunt, and that is a documentary of my military experience with video footage of me in high school, me in basic training in Fort Benning, me in Germany before Iraq, me in Iraq, and then me after Iraq. You could literally see my face change from like a young boy to a seasoned.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a trip.
All right, cool, man. Man, well, thank you for joining us, man. This is Official Busy Bee with Cam Capone News. Thank you, Hector, for coming to join us, man, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you, dude. This was awesome.
Peace.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.